Now we are going to look at how do the equations of motion change the influence under acceleration due to gravity. So as we have seen the equations of motion, so now we are going to look at equations of motion under the influence of gravity. So this is the concept we are going to look at now, equations of motion under the influence of gravity. So here we'll just look at equation of motion as we know, the very first equation is going to be V is equal to u plus at, and second one S is equal to ut plus half at square, third one V square minus u square equal to 2as, and fourth one Sn equal to u plus a into n minus half. These are the equations we have seen. The same equations in case of, so here we look at the same case in case of a body moving towards the ground. This equation is going to be when it is moving towards the ground, A is replaced by, A will become plus G. Therefore, the equation is going to change as V is equal to u plus gt, S is equal to ut plus half gt square, and V square minus u square is going to be 2gs, and Sn is going to be u plus g into n minus half. So, A is replaced by G here because the body is moving towards the ground. Under the influence of earth it is moving. So, A is replaced by plus G. And similarly, in case of a body moving away from ground, so A should be taken as minus G. In that case, this equation is going to be V is equal to u minus gt. This equation is going to be S is equal to ut minus half gt square. And this equation is going to be V square minus u square is equal to minus 2gs. This equation is going to be Sn is equal to u minus g n minus half. This is how the equations are going to change in case of when a body is moving towards the ground and away from the ground. Here we can look into the case when, same thing we'll just look at when a body is freely falling. Replace the equations with u is equal to 0 and a is equal to plus g. So this is only the case. So here we'll just look at the next case when in case of freely falling. If it is simply falling, then u will be there. But freely falling, u will become 0. So, these are the equations how an equation of motion can change in case of a body when moving under the influence of gravity. These are the equations we have already written when a body is moving on the ground, on the surface. A is the acceleration possessed by it. In case of the body which is coming down under the influence of gravity, it will possess an acceleration which we were calling it as acceleration due to gravity. Therefore, simply replace A with G. Therefore, what happens? The first equation of motion converts into u plus gt. Second equation of motion converts into ut plus half gt square. Simply you are replacing a by plus g. Unlike that, if a body is thrown upwards, so a should be replaced by minus g. Therefore, the equations are going to change in this manner. Now, you can also see the other case. In case of a body, here moving towards the ground, in the sense it has some initial velocity. That means I am just throwing like this. And freely falling means I am dropping like this. So, when I drop it, freely falling is the case where initial velocity is going to be 0. In that case, what happens? When a body is freely falling, the same equations, you can just take u as 0 and a as plus g. And whatever the substitutions you will get, you just substitute over there. You are getting the equations of motion in case of a freely falling body as u will become 0, a is becoming plus g. Therefore, first equation will become v is equal to u is 0, a is g. Therefore, v is equal to gt. Likewise, second equation will become s is equal to half gt square. And third equation becomes v square is equal to 2gs. So, this is how the equations are going to change in case of a freely falling body. So, based on this, you have several applications. So, overall in this particular chapter, you need to know about what is displacement, what is velocity, what is acceleration, and how these three things can be used in determining the various parameters. So, when you incorporate in a formula, those formulae are called as the equations of motion. Using these equations of motion, you can find out the various physical quantities depending upon the values given. This is how we implement the equations of motion in solving the problems.